Chapter 9, Part 2 of More Love to Thee, the Life and Letters of Elizabeth Prentiss. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. More Love to Thee, the Life and Letters of Elizabeth Prentiss, by George Prentiss. Chapter 9, Part 2 How She Earned Her Sleep, Writing for Young Converts About Speaking the Truth, Meeting of the General Assembly in the Church of the Covenant, Reunion, Dee Dee's and Strawberry Shortcake, Enacting the Tiger, Getting Ready for Dorset, Letters. This year was one of the busiest of her life, and it were hard to say which was busiest, her body or mind, her hand, heart, or brain. This relentless activity was caused in part by the increasing difficulty of obtaining sleep. Incessant work seemed to be, in her case, a sort of substitute for natural rest and a solace for the loss of it. She alludes to this constant struggle with insomnia in a letter to Miss Warner, dated May 9th. If you knew the whole story, you would not envy my power of driving about so much. You can lie down and sleep when you please. I must earn my sleep by hard work, which uses up so much time that I wonder I ever accomplish anything. I believe that God arranges our various burden and fits them to our backs, and that he sets off a loss against a gain, so that while some seem more favored than others, the mere aspect deceives. I have to make it my steady object throughout each day, so as to spend time and strength as to obtain sleep enough to carry me through the next. It is thus I have acquired the habit of taking a large amount of exercise, which keeps me out of doors when I am longing to be at work within. You say I seem to be always in a flood of joy. Well, that too is seems. I think I know what joy in God means, though perhaps I only begin to know. But I am a weak creature. I fall into snares and get entangled, not nearly so often as I used to, but still do get into them. I have a perfect horror of them. The thought of having anything come between God and my soul makes me so restless and uneasy that I hardly know which way to turn. I have been very much absorbed of late in various interests, and am sure that they have contrived to occupy me much too much. Pressing cares do sometimes, and oh, how ashamed I am. Do write for young inquirers if your heart prompts you to do it. I don't know what to think of your suggestion that in writing for young converts I should impress it upon them to speak the truth. It seems to me just like telling them not to commit murder, and that would be absurd. Do Christians cheat and tell lies? I have a great aversion to writing about such things. If children are not trained at home to be upright and full of integrity, it can't be that books can rectify that loss. You may reply that home training is defective in thousands of cases. Yes, that is true, but I have a feeling that truth and honesty must spring from a soil early prepared for them, and that a young person who is in the habit of falsehood is not a Christian and needs to go back to first principles. I can't endure subterfuges, misrepresentation, and the like. The whole foundation looks wrong when people indulge themselves in them, and to say to a Christian, "I hope you are truthful," is to my mind as if I should say to him, "I hope you wash your face and hands every day." Now, if your observation says I am wrong, let's know. I am open to conviction. To Mrs. H. B. Smith, New York, May 24th, 1869. It has just come to me that the true way to enjoy writing and to have you enjoy hearing is to keep a sort of journal where little things will have a chance to speak for themselves. We are now in the midst of General Assembly. Mr. Stearns is here, and we have sprinklings of ministers to dine and to tea at all sorts of odd hours. I can't help loving what is Christ-like in people, whether I like their natural characters or not. After all, what else is there in the world worth much love? My Katie seems to be ploughing her way with more or less success, and making friends and foes. You, who helped me fashion her, would be interested in the letters I get from wives, showing that the want of demonstration in men is a widespread evil, under which women do groan, being burdened. Entre nous, Mrs. Dr. is one, and I got a letter today from Michigan to the same effect. We are having delightful weather for the meetings. Yesterday morning Dr. John Hall preached in our church, and it was crammed full to overflowing. Lou S. has decided to study theology. We are all glad. He and I have got quite acquainted of late and talk most learnedly together. Did I tell you I have translated a German dramatic poem in 5 acts? Miss Anna Nevin says I have done it extremely well. I don't know about that, but my whole soul got into it somehow, and I did not know whether I was in the body or out of it for 2 or 3 weeks. I wish I could do things decently and in order. There is to be a great party at Apollo Hall this evening for both assemblies. I am going and expect to get tired to death. 26th. It was a brilliant scene at Apollo Hall. Everybody was there, and the hall was finely adapted to the purpose of accommodating the 2,000 people present. The speeches were very poor. I went to the prayer meeting this morning. The church was full, galleries and all, and the spirit was excellent. Many men shed tears in speaking for reunion, and from what Mr. Stearns reports of the meeting of the committee last night, union may be considered as good as restored. You will hear nothing else from me. It is all I hear talked about. Monday, 31st. Hot as need be. Dr. B. of Brooklyn dined with us. Said he never ate strawberry shortcake before, and was reading Katie. It is awful to think how many DDs are doing it, eating shortcake, I mean, of course. Hope the assembly will wind up tonight. June 5th. We are so glad you have got to La Tour and find it pleasant there, and that you have met Dr. and Mrs. Guthrie, and that they have met you instead of the blowsy-toesy American women, who make one so ashamed of them. If I wasn't going to Dorset, I should wish I were going where you are. But then, you see, I am going to Dorset. I've been to the Central Park with Mrs. , who talked in one steady stream all the way. I was sleepy and the carriage very noisy. And take it altogether, what a farce life is sometimes. The intercourse of human beings, outsides touching outsides, the heart and soul lying to all intents and purposes as dead as a doornail. Do you ever feel mentally and spiritually alone in the world? Perhaps everybody does. To Miss E. A. Warner, New York, June 4th, 1869. I concluded you had gone and died and got buried without letting me know, when your letter reached me via Dorset. What possessed you to send it there when you knew, you naughty thing, that I was having General Assembly? I can't imagine. But I suppose, being a Congregationalist, you thought General Assembly wasn't nothing, and that I could entertain squads of DDs for a fortnight, more or less. Just as well at Dorset I could here. My dear, read the papers and go in the way you should go, and behave yourselves. As if 250 ministers haven't worn streaks in the grass round the church, haven't, some of them, been here to dinner and eaten my strawberry shortcake and cottage puddings, and praised my coffee and drank 2 cups apiece all round, and as if I hadn't been set up on end for those of 'em to look at who are reading Katie, and as if going furiously to work, after they'd all gone, didn't use me up and spend me lopping down on sofas, sighing like a what's-its-name. Well, well, the ignorance of you country folks, and the wisdom of us city folks. We hope to get to Dorset by the 17th of this month. Depends on how many interruptions I have, and how many days I have to lie by. I can't imagine why I break down so, for I don't know when I've been so well as during this spring. But Mr. P. and A. say I work like a tiger, and I suppose I do without knowing it. I'm so glad you had a pleasant Sunday. No doubt you had more bodily strength with which to enjoy spiritual things. A weak body hinders prayer and praise when the heart would sing, if it were not in fetters that cramp and exhaust it. Monday. Today I've been enacting the tiger again, and worked furiously. A half scolds and half entreats, but I can't help it. If I work, and so there it is. I've bought a dinner set, and had a long visit from my old Mary, who wept over and kissed me, and I'm going out to call on Mrs. Wolseley this evening. To-morrow A's scholars are to come and make an address to her and give her a picture. She is not to know it till they arrive. It is really cold after the very hot weather, and some are freezing, and some have internal pains. I wish you could have seen me this forenoon at work in the attic, a mass of dust, feathers, and perplexity. I got hold of one of my John's innumerable trunks of papers, and found among them manuscripts of several of my books laid up in lavender, which I pitched into the ash barrel. I suppose he thinks I may distinguish myself some time, and that the discerning world will be after a scratch of my gifted pen. Have you read Gates Off the Hinges? The next thing will be There Ain't No Gates. End of chapter 9, part 2.